It's been 3 months to the day since I've come back to Germany from a 2-year journey through Australia and New Zealand. Obviously there are many things in terms of culture and behavior between Down Under and Germany. Throughout my stay in Australia I have of course adapted to those differences, and there are still a few habits that I also subconsciously still maintain here in Germany. So let me tell you in this video which tiny parts of Australia and New Zealand still live on in me right here, and which habits I just can't seem to shake off. Make sure you stay till the end of this video to find out what's the thing that affected me the most and what's the thing that has moved my life into a much better direction, and that is something that I will always be very grateful for. So, let's dive in. Traffic. There are some things that are very different when it comes to getting around by car, motorbike, you name it. The most noticeable difference being, of course, the side of the road that you and I are driving on. In Australia, of course, you drive on the left, where we in Germany, or most of Europe, drive on the right side of the street. When I drove a car in Australia for the first time, that was also the first time I've ever driven a car on the left side. Even though I've been to England and Ireland a few times before, but I was never driving. So I learned driving on the left in Sydney CBD. And I think that you have a pretty good understanding of how the traffic there can be. It was very wild for me, but I made it without any casualties, luckily. But after that, I was essentially living in my car. I was driving hundreds and hundreds of kilometers each day. At least it felt like it. So after a few months of driving on the left, that really has become the new default for me. I really didn't have to think about it at all anymore. And now, even after 3 months of being back to Germany, driving on the left is still somehow the default for me. You might know the feeling when you sort of drive on autopilot and the car just seems to be moving all by itself and you're just not really thinking about anything, and then reality kicks back in and you'll be like, I'm driving a vehicle here. That's not just me, right? In these moments I really have that split second of anxiety where I have to check whether I'm still driving correctly. I'm looking around my car and I'm like, okay, my steering wheel is on the left, my passenger seat is on the right, I'm driving on the right side. Alright, everything seems to be in order. Another example of when it comes to traffic is that I still misbehave in roundabouts. Not that I enter them from the wrong direction, but I indicate wrong. As you know, in Australia, you indicate towards the direction that you want to leave the roundabout before entering it. In Germany, we enter the roundabout without indicating, and then we indicate once we reach the exit that we want to take. And I would say that in about 30% of all cases, I still behave in roundabouts the way you do in Australia, which sometimes does cause some confusion. Dress down. A thing that I valued about Australia from the first day on was that people didn't really seem to care too much about what other people might think of them. You go to a grocery store wearing whatever really. You don't even need to wear shoes. In Germany, at least from my own perspective, buying groceries is somewhat of a social event where you gotta present yourself, and some people would actually dress up for that purpose. But I stopped caring about that. I don't even look in the mirror before I go buy groceries. I don't even check what I'm wearing. Now I go like this. I wear comfortable pants, I wear my Grafton Tigers Australian football hoodie, obviously, go Tigers. And that's not just for buying groceries. I would go anywhere like this really. Apart from a nice restaurant maybe, because it could be a little disrespectful towards the venue if I would show up like this. So I would probably dress up for that too. English. I really can't get English out of my system. Wherever I go, I really just want to greet people with, how's it going? I never did, but that's always the first thing that comes into my mind when I want to say hello to someone. When I went to the grocery store the other day, I needed some batteries, and I couldn't find them in the store, so I asked a staff member. And what I said was, sorry mate? He didn't really process it, and I continued in German, and everything was fine, but without thinking about it, sorry mate just came out. That was a bit of a weird situation. This may be in direct correlation with the fact that I'm watching movies only in English now. I have, before I went to Australia, for the sake of education, watched movies in English before, but also a lot in German. Now, after 2 years of exclusively watching movies in English, I just can't stand the German dub anymore. Even though the German dub is very, very sophisticated over here. The lip movement matched the dub very, very well. But when I have friends over here and we watch a movie together, of course we do it in German. But I just can't enjoy it anymore. It just feels so off, it just feels so weird, and I just really can't enjoy German dub movies anymore. Only English is the real way to go. This also might be a good opportunity to express the gratitude that I have for having this channel, because this channel really is a very good reason to still embrace the Englishness of my life. Because without this channel, I wouldn't be talking English to anyone at all anymore, and that would be a very sad thing. So please give me a reason to keep this channel going by subscribing, and also leave a like if you enjoyed this video so far. Informality. In some of my other videos I have already covered that family names are key in Germany. When you're in hospital and you have heaps of time to make friends with the nurses, they will still call you Mr. Smith, even after 2 or 3 weeks being in hospital and you know them already, but still, you are Mr. Smith. And beyond that, the German language has 2 different kinds of use. We have an informal you, which is du, for family members, friends, people you know, and we have Sie, for people you don't know, and generally people in a different social rank as you are. Depending on the situation, like a police officer will always be a Sie. You will never say du to a police officer. So it's safe to say that in a job interview, you would say something like, "Hello, nice to meet you, Sie, Mr. Smith." But when I had a job interview lately, I was like, "Hey, how are you, du, going?" It just feels so unnatural to me now to speak the formal way, and sometimes I really have to force myself to speak like that, even though it just feels so unnatural. No matter where I go, I just really want to be like, "Hey mate, how's it going?" It's just so much more relaxed and just so much smoother. I got the job, by the way, if you're wondering. Being laid back. The most important thing to me, and the thing that I'm most thankful for, is that I'm just so much more relaxed in many situations now. Before I went to Australia, I went to work with a bad feeling. I was constantly afraid that at work someone would come to me and point out that I would somehow do a bad job. I have always put so much pressure on myself that I would make a good impression, or that I would behave to everyone's satisfaction. And this has, if I may speak openly, brought me to the brink of depression at a certain point of my life. And this was one of the main reasons that I decided that I needed to break free and just leave. Then I went to Australia. And over there, I really learned to embrace the "she'll be right" attitude. I don't say that the Australians that I met didn't care about what they were doing, but they were just so much more self-aware about themselves, and they were just kind of doing their own thing, and anyone that would have a problem with that, they could just fuck off. So I learned that I shouldn't worry too much about other people's opinion on me. I learned that I am a valuable individual as I am, and anyone who does not contribute to my well-being is just not worth wasting my energy on. This is something that I will always hold in very, very high regard, and I will always be thankful to Down Under for allowing me to take that with me. Now, all there is left to say is thank you so much for watching. Stay healthy, be happy, and see you next time.